Hey, this is Derica Fomasili, your host on the Happiness Recipe Summit, where top experts are revealing their secrets so you can create your own perfect recipe for happiness. And today's vital ingredient is how to have meaningful relationships. That sounds beautiful, just like that, right? But it's going to be not just with your spouse and partner, but with your loved ones, your family, your friends, your colleagues, and people that you are soon going to meet. How important is that to your happiness? Let's take a moment of silence because we all know the opposite of those kind of relationships where maybe they're stressful and frustrating, and how that steals so much of our happiness. Am I right? So, without further ado, we're going to jump right on into this very important topic. And we're going to do that with the expert known as the quality of life coach, Mr. Joe Lau. Woo! Very
Thank
exciting.
you. Thank
Thank,
you.
thank you for being here. So, I'm going to go right into your amazing bio so we can all get to know you a little bit more. I know when I heard of your title, Quality of Life Coach, I was like, yes, let's get him on the show. Let's have him on the show because that right there, I think we all need improvement in, right? We all need a little bit. So without further ado, Mr. Joe Lau is a self-made entrepreneur. He has founded 6 companies and sold 3 of them, resulting in multiple 7-figure profits. Whew, that's some happiness right there. And we're going to get into that in later shows. But as a successful entrepreneur, speaker, and quality of life coach, Joe inspires and challenges people to connect with who they truly are so that they can have a meaningful relationships and live a healthier, higher quality of lifestyle. You want some of that, right? Joe approaches simplifies the process to achieving a harmonic life by focusing on the things that truly matter. He teaches his clients to practice gratitude and appreciation to better all areas of their life, from fitness to family to finances. His methods help his clients become the best version of themselves and allows them to play more, live more, and make more. Welcome, Joe.
Thank you so much for having me, Derica. I'm super excited to be here.
Yes, thank you, thank you. I had to convince him to get him here. So, Joe, let's see. Can you share just a little bit more of your story and how you became a quality of life coach?
Sure, I love to. So, thank you for having me here. And I'm currently living in Miami with my wife that we've been together for more than 20 years. Yes, we met when we were 7. No, just kidding. Don't let the soy sauce fool you. It's an Asian skin, right?
Love
we've
it.
been,
Give me
we've been
some of that.
together. Yes, yes. So we've been together for a very long time, and we have 2 beautiful kids.
Mm,
So we live in Miami, and
nice.
life is great. And really, I love doing what I'm doing. My schedule is usually around my family.
Mm,
I tell people that I'm a full-time family man and a part-time entrepreneur. I'm super hands-on then. I'm super involved. But the truth is, life wasn't always like this.
mm,
And I've been an entrepreneur for more than 17 years now. And I remember this particular night that I was working on my business, and the business was doing pretty good already.
mhm.
And I remember this particular night, I was working late. I couldn't tell you exactly what time it was, but just late. So after working that late, and I went downstairs and tried to have dinner with my wife.
Yeah.
And I went downstairs. I could not remember how much time I spent with her because the entire time I was just like shuffling food in my mouth, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I don't even think we have a conversation, or at least I didn't hear anything, right?
Right.
I was in my own
Oh,
mind,
yeah.
right?
Yes.
So I ate real quick, and as soon as I finished, I went back up to my room. I
Yeah.
closed my door. I remember seeing this gigantic whiteboard that most of us has
Yeah.
when there was like so much items on it. As
Mm.
I was checking them off, I asked twice as many back. And I was like thinking, oh my gosh, I was so overwhelmed because I just don't know when I'll ever finish it.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, my wife, Leslie, she came in and she gave me this look, right? You know, it's kind of like the calm before the storm.
Oh yeah.
Which, all right, she just asked me,
Yes.
are you coming to bed with me right now?
Mm.
I was like, no. I mean, look at this huge list. It's not even halfway done.
Yeah.
So she didn't yell at me or anything. She just gave me this really sad look.
Mm.
And I was like, at that time, I feel, well, I mean, what's going on here? It's legit. I'm not playing. I'm
Yeah.
working, right?
Right. Right.
So that was that. And then she left, and then I continued doing what I was doing.
Mm.
And then all of a sudden, it hits me. I feel really guilty because, I'm married to this amazing woman, but I'm not really married to her. I feel like I was married to my business,
Right.
just like my father. You see,
Oh.
when I was young, my parents got divorced, and my father is a great man. He loves me, but he worked a lot. He was
Mm.
kind of like a workaholic, and he just worked a lot. So I never get a chance to really, get to know him and spend time with him.
Yeah.
So even though when I was young, I was determined to be someone called entrepreneur. I don't even know what that means, right? I just thought, okay, I want to do my business and make all the money, have all the time freedom, so I can spend a lot of time with my family.
Yeah.
We know how that goes. So that night was really a pivot moment for me. Is because I constantly feel guilty when I'm working. I feel guilty not spending time with my wife and my family. When I'm spending time with my family, I feel guilty not spending time with work.
With
So
work.
I'm constantly with this struggle, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then I'm not taking care of myself on top of that. So I start to think, is there such thing as work-life balance that everybody's talking about? It's like this myth, right? You gotta have work-life balance. So I spent the next couple of years and and learn everything from like reading books, conferences, and workshop courses, learn anything from mindset, time management, you name it, anything that I thought would help me to get this hang of work-life balance.
Right. Right.
And then after all these like ups and downs, right? Every time I feel like, oh, I got this. But then it's like, oh, no, that's not it. And after all this like trying and error, I finally figured it out. So for the past decade, instead of working 50 to 60 hours a week, I was able to work 25 hours a week on average every single week. And then instead of this huge to-do list with tiny impact, I now have a very small list that make huge impact to my life and to my business. And the most important thing is, instead of not able to spend time with my family, I now spend so much time with my family and my kids, they're literally like tired of me. And I mentioned earlier, I call myself a full-time family man and a
Mm-hmm.
part-time entrepreneur. And just the other day, my kids teacher asked my kids, like, what does your dad do for a living? How come, he's in 2 PTA, he's homeroom dad, and then he's like always like dropping guys off and pack lunch and leave a little note. And my girls told the teacher that I don't do anything. I just play all day.
I love it. I love it.
which is not true. So that's live right now.
But
And
that's
how
know daddy, right? That's how they know you, as being fun and playing with them.
Yes, that's how they know me, and that's important to me. And how I become a quality of life coach is after my last exit, my last business that got sold. Immediately the next day, I feel void. It's because a lot of famous people say success without fulfillment is void. And first time in my life, I feel that like, oh my goodness, what is this that I'm doing? I mean, I have, some financial freedom, but what exactly, makes me happy? And that's why I really, started to devote my time to help the others to live the harmonic life. So that's how I become.
That's so beautiful. I love hearing this story because w- I'm a clinical hypnotherapist. So I'm always going back to that child mind, right? That's usually what creates our foundation. And you grew up with a father that was doing all the things you did not want to do as a dad yourself. And so as you inherited that kind of mindset, that program, in that moment, I think we all have these awakening points in our lives where we're like, we're like dad, or we're like mom, or right. We start seeing these patterns, and it's such a powerful moment because right then you were able to make that shift. Right. And it took the baby
Yes.
steps and and the breadcrumbs, but you got there, and now you're helping others do that. That is so beautiful. Love it.
Thank
That's
you.
why he's here, you guys. That's why he's here.
Thank you.
All right. So if we can, I'm a very visual person. So can we paint a picture of what it would look like to have those meaningful relationships for someone? Because, you know, most of us, we're kind of just going through our day. We might have good moments with folks. We might have just turbulence and stress, and yet then we still all, like with our spouse, we'll go to bed together at night, we'll kind of do up and just do the same rodeo over and over and over. And so what would it look like to like really have meaningful relationships with people that we're living life with?
I love that question. So, I constantly, ask myself that even though I feel like I have it today, right? I believe that to have that really meaningful relationship, first, it's a simple answer. You may not like the answer, but it's very simple. You have to know yourself and be honest. Who are you? Like, what is your value?
Right.
Truly, what is your identity? What do you want to be known for, right? Someone asked me a while ago after I sold my business, Joe, what do you want to be known for? Once I figured out what I want to be known for, everything kind of fall in place. It's because
Wow.
whether you have a business, you have a career, or you're full-time parents, it doesn't matter because you are a human, you're a living being. What do you want to be known for at the end of the day, right? If someone starts talking about Joe, someone starts talking about Derica, what do
Yeah.
you want them to talk about, right? So once we
Absolutely.
figure that out, everything comes more simple. Because once we figure out who we are, then we can start to embrace, and love ourselves for who we are.
Yeah.
And the truth is, we all have strength and weakness. They're just a fact, right? Some people don't want to say, oh, I have no weakness, or some experts say weakness is a bad word. No, we all have strengths and weakness. The key is how we utilize our strength and how we outsource our weakness to make our life more productive. Because
Yeah.
the truth is, we only have 24 hours a day. That's
Right.
it, right? Especially this day with social media,
Mm.
everybody's fighting for like how many friends I have, how many likes I have, right?
Yeah.
Then the
Right.
question I always ask my student: how much time do you really have? Do you really want to have 5,000 friends? You have 24 hours a day, right? Do
Right.
you want to have like 26 close friends that they all want to share their life story with you every single day? You only have 24 hours a day. Like how much
Right.
time do you really have the capacity to spend with the
Yeah.
people? Because relationship is about give, right? The more you invest, just like everything else, time, energy, and focus, the more we spend on that, whatever that is, in this case, relationship,
Yeah.
the more you get the fruit, right? So ask yourself, who are you? And really look at your calendar, be realistic. How much time do you actually have? Then you would know what kind of relationship can you really commit yourself to, because without the time, energy, and focus,
Mm.
right, the
Yeah.
relationship is not going to be meaningful because it just won't do anything with you, won't do
Yeah.
anything for you. So that's how you live the harmonic life. Figure out your value, what you want to be known for, and how
Mm.
much time do you really have to spend with the others.
That is so good. And as you're talking, I'm taking copious notes. So I want everyone there's if you're watching this right now and you're really feeling like, yes, I would love to organize my time, my focus, my energy into these relationships, pen and paper, like have these available and take notes, because it's one thing if you're hearing this beautiful wisdom come through, but to really absorb the information, there's a tip I give my clients is, and I'm sure Joe you do too, is write it down. Write it down, because as you're visually taking it in, you're using all these different muscles. It's embodying it, right? It's writing it into your mindset. So take notes. Joe, that's what I'm doing. We all want all these friends, we want all these relationships, but realistically, you in your life, you have your family, or you have your job, you have all these different tasks. Like me, I'm a wife, I'm a mom, like all these different hats we're putting on, right? And at the end of the day, what's meaningful? How much time do we really devote, or how much energy do we put into to nourish these relationships? Right? So that I'm sure you have a system where you can actually organize that all and see what my time blocks are, right?
I do have a system.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Why do you, and you, so I want to ask why is it so hard for us to have meaningful relationships besides like social media competition, trying to have so many friends? Is there other reasons why?
I would say from my personal experience and also with the students that I've been helping,
Yeah.
that when it comes down to it really is time. I like to give credit and the blame to time. Because when it all comes down to it, right? What do we really have? 24 hours. You can say, oh, but I have money, I have knowledge, I have mindset. Well, how do you use them? When are you going to use them, right? It's time. So first step is there's three things that people are missing. That's why they're struggling to live I call it a harmonic lifestyle, right? Because
Yeah.
balanced lifestyle is not realistic. We can, that's another topic, but harmonic lifestyle is three things you need.
Okay.
In order for you to have the time to live it. The first thing is you have to understand that time is scarcity. Again, time is scarcity. It's the most simple universal knowledge, but most people live like they don't know it and they ignore it. Why do I say time is scarcity is so important? Because think about it. How many more Thanksgiving do we have with our kids, with our family, with our spouse, with our elderly? You can count them, literally, right?
Yeah.
If you count it that way, then all of a sudden things become concrete. Well, maybe 50, maybe 60, maybe 20, whatever that number is in your head, is a finite number. It's not going
Yeah.
to be forever. So
Right.
once we understand time is scarcity, you realize that whether it's the relationship that you've been wanting to reach out, right? Whether it's the thing that you've been wanting to say, but you're like, oh, if I don't say it today, I say it tomorrow. I say it next time I see them, right? The
Right.
thing is, how do you know that's next time? What if there is no next time? For whatever reason. It doesn't have to be life and death, right? It just
Yeah.
means the next time is just that you never get find time to it, right? What if there is no next time? If you
Mm.
understand that, you no longer put off on this relationship, on your goal, or on the thing that you want to take care of that's important to you, because you
Yeah.
know it might not be next time. So first step is to figure out time really is scarcity. If you don't
Right.
believe me, sure, look at the clock. It's ticking.
It's
You can be
going.
sleeping. It's going, whether you like it or not, right? It's
Right.
ticking.
Right.
So the second reason why people are struggling is because they say yes to many, many things.
Mm.
Warren Buffett famously said, the difference between very successful people to everyone else is very successful people say no almost all the time. Think
It's
about it.
true.
Why? It's because you just don't have enough time to say yes to everything. It's
Right.
because what's behind yes every time you say is you actually say no to something else. So in order for you to get anything new, whether it's a new relationship, a new hobbies, or new business, whatever new that is, you actually have to make room for that new things, right?
Right.
Let's say you have a relationship that, your best friend that you grow apart, all right? Or you both get married, you move apart, whatever that is. You want to reach out to the relationship. Well, when you're reaching out to the relationship, that takes time and you actually say no to whatever that you were supposed to do or whatever you were doing. So if you want to have a good relationship,
Yeah.
meaning you need more time to nurture that, you need to start saying no a lot more often. And it's okay, right? It's okay to say no. So the last thing is the third thing that I see most common is people don't understand their own value. People don't know who they are,
Yeah.
right? For those that are lucky, we face ups and downs in life. We face the people that come into our life, and then it shows us like indirectly who we are, and we listen, right? And for those people that are not so lucky, they never pay attention to who they are. They live till 70, 80, 90, even the day they die, they still don't know who they are. So if they don't know who they are, if they don't know their value, how do you know what's important to you,
Right.
right? A
Yeah.
lot of relationship had this conflict. It's not because of communication. It's the fundamental value is just off. I wouldn't say wrong. It's off. For example, you know, let's say someone has a value on time, discipline, on time, and then the other person is more like chill, whatever goes, right?
Yeah.
Imagine these two person live together.
Mm-hmm.
It's not right or wrong. It's just that it's going to be a major conflict. Now, it doesn't mean it cannot work. But each of them have to understand their value and understand the other person's value and know where they're coming from. And that's how you can communicate. So to answer your question, those three things is what I see people struggle the most.
That is wonderful. You're absolutely right. And I'm sure everyone's kind of nodding their heads along just as I was. It's like taking these notes. Wow, those are great nuggets of gold. I think we should kind of sit and, after this, look at your life and think about that. Think about what time means to you and how, whether you are relaxed about the time or you're kind of like on time for everything, it's still going. It's still going for all of us. And I guess valuing time, like you're saying, like more, let it be more precious to you. And then you can act, everything you're doing really has more meaning, right? When it's of scarcity to you. I love that mindset shift. Did you see that? He really shifted our mindsets with that one. I love that. That's beautiful. Okay, so I want to get into a miracle story of yours, a client story of yours where, I mean, you can go into as much details as you want, but I want you to just lay it on us, a miracle story of where someone was to where you guided them to and where they wanted to be with meaningful relationships and a harmonic life.
Sure. So a friend, a student of mine, Natalia, we met many years ago. And when I first met her, she was just starting out her business. And she has this beautiful relationship that they both live in a different area, in different state. And she's just starting her own business, just quit her job. So she was overwhelmed, just like many entrepreneurs. They want to do everything on their own, right? And then her business was doing really well, allow her to, work on this full-time and work for herself as a full-time entrepreneur. But then we start working together. She come to me because she does everything on her own. She literally have no time for anything else, like literally no time for anything else, right?
Right.
Then we start working together. And then long story short, instead of working on everything in the business and have everything like jeopardize everything, because entrepreneur famously want to do, I'll live that life. I'll pay attention to whatever around me after my business is get to whatever level.
Right.
A lot of people, even with a career, with a job, is like think like that, right? Yes. I'll have that happiness. I'll start going to the gym. I'll stop, I don't know, spend more time with my kid. Once I hit that goal, because they think the truth is money, right? What it is money, right? Most people don't want to talk about it, but it's the truth. It's in our head. Why not say it? Most people think money, once we reach that money goal, now we're going to have time because money is going to buy us time.
Right.
The yes and no answer. So while I was working with Talia, I was kind of, working with her with the same framework. My framework is 3-step. I call it the app system, right? You heard it right. It's an app, but this app is not like an app you download to your smartphone or smart device. This is an app that you download to your brain, right? And live with you forever. Apps stand for attitude, productivity, and people. So we walk through this framework with her. I'm just going to walk you through with your audience real quick. So the app attitude is about, again, start with time and scarcity, and you need to say no a lot more often, and that you have to make room for the things that you want to grow, and things like that. Once we work on this mindset, this attitude, the next thing is about productivity. Because what good does that do? You have all the right mindset, all you want, but you don't know what is important and when you should, do those things. So we then work on those. And then last but not least is once you have a handle of her own time management, now it's time to figure out who can help her do things faster, right? Whether you are full-time parents at home, or you have a corporate job, or you have your own business, you always need people to help us one way or the other, right? Because we just can't do everything. My perfect example is this. People say, oh, I never, want to hire people. I'm not good at hiring people, even as a full-time parent or as an individual, right? Let me ask you this. Do you make your own shoes? You don't.
Right.
Who makes your shoes? Whatever the brand is, right? Some brand makes your shoes. But who is running the brand? You may say, oh, it's a machine. Well, who invented the machine? Some human. You basically hire someone else's time to make the shoes for you. It's just that company a lot more efficient on spending time to make shoes than you and I can make a pair of shoes. right?
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
everyone have experience outsource your, transfer your time, trade your money with time. It's called buying a pair of shoes. Most people don't
Yep.
make their own shoes. So yes. So the last step is people. How
Good.
do we and who can help us to get there faster, easier, and less stress? So those are my framework, the 3 step: attitude, productivity, and people. And once we finish that with Natalia, and the final result is today,
Yeah.
she is happily married, living in the same house, not separate, long distance relationship anymore. And not only that, she was able to outsource and dedicate 90% of her work to
Wow.
other people. So she
Wow.
only spent about 10% of her previous time running her business. And the best part is that's why it gets me so fired up, is she is now a mother.
Oh.
And she is a full-time mom. She has a little boy. And she's able to spend all the time she wants to
Yeah.
raise this beautiful human being, Buddhist relationship, and
Right.
still have her business provide for her.
Right.
And that's why I'm doing. That's why I do what I do. I love this.
That is such a beautiful story. And so many of us, even myself, I've been in that situation so many times in my life where, we want to do it all. We want to be the best mom, the best wife, the best housekeeper, the best cook, right? We want to be the best employee. We want to be the best at everything we do. And so we kind of hold on to those things, right? And we're just going and going and going. And I know for me, there were so many days I would just crash on the couch from doing everything, just so exhausted. And even though I got it all done, there was still no fulfillment, I would say, right? I was just kind of running around. I have 4 kids. I was kind of running
Wow.
around the kids, right? And like, yeah, I see you, I see you. Or like, but I really wasn't like in there because I was cleaning and I was cooking. And that's such a big mindset trip when you're thinking about maybe, okay, if I give some of my money away, which is hard for some of us to do, right? Give some of our money away to hire a housekeeper, or hire a chef to come in every once in a while, or a teacher, now a homeschool teacher, right? There's so many outsources that we can do, but it's scary. It's really scary, kind of losing that control and allowing these kind of experts to come in, right, and do it. But once you take that leap of faith and you give these roles to people who actually enjoy doing them and can do them, like you said, 90% of her time came back into her marriage and her children, and you actually are serving more people, you're giving people jobs, right? And you're able to, I don't know, be more present and be more loving and there while you're with people, just saving some of that time. So that mindset shift, it's happening, you guys. This is so important to be able to just open yourself up and delegate some of these tasks. That is wonderful. God, that's beautiful. Okay, so for what can the listeners do right now, besides we talked about so many cool things we can do right now, but let's talk about baby steps here, right? Baby steps. What can a listener do right now to improve their quality of life?
Okay. I would say I'm a time guy. I give time all the credit, right? When you are able to be so productive, whether it's for your personal life or professional life, then you're able to have the time that you need to nurture those relationships. Because without time, I mean, as much as you want to, you have to spend time with the other person, right? You cannot just say, okay, I really love you. I really love you.
I know.
When you don't even have time to say I love you, what is the point? So here's a 3-step. It's based on my productivity framework. Would you like to hear that?
Yes, yes,
All
come
right,
on, bring it.
let's do this. Let's do this. I love this. So for my productivity framework, productivity is designed to protect our time. So I have a 3-step process. It's called SPF. So before today's conversation, most people think SPF is protect your skin, right?
Right.
After this conversation, hopefully you'll think SPF is protect your time. Now, S stand for intentional scheduling. And let's jump right into it.
Yeah.
Intentional scheduling. Now, a student of mine, Susan, asked me in my workshop. She asked me, Joe, I I'm a loving person. I'm a grandmom. I'm a mom. I'm a wife. I'm a business owner. I never able to say no to anybody. So I have time for everybody else, but no time for myself. What do I do? And my schedule is packed. So I told Susan, there's a difference between schedule and intentional schedule. Intentional schedule is to really block out the time of your day to do the things that move you from where you are to where you want to be, whether it's a relationship or self-help or fitness or whatever the goal you have. So the idea is this, we need to set aside a chunk of time called time blocking and on our calendar. Ideally, it will be daily. If you cannot, every other day was fine, but need to be consistent at the time. And then set that time aside, whether it's 15, 30 minutes or 2 hours, whatever you can afford to, just do that. And then block out that time and don't do anything else but the thing that will help you move yourself from where you are to where you want to be. So that's time blocking, right? So that's intentional scheduling. Everything else goes around that. All right, you gotta have that happen. You gotta have that intentional scheduling ready. So now you have that set aside. Then you ask me, Joe, what I do in that time, right? The second step is what I call prioritize to impact. A lot of people think, oh, I know how to prioritize things. Things are more important to things are less important, or just all the things I need to do, and they all seems to be important. Yeah. So this is how it works. There are 3 small steps for prioritize to impact. I call it WWW. So the first W is stand for who. The second W is stand for what. The last W is stand for when. And let's kind of walk it through each. The first W is kind of what we mentioned earlier, is value, who we are. You have to understand your value, your identity, and what you want to be known for. It's because if your time spent is not aligned with your value and your identity, you're going to have burnouts, regrets, and mediocre result, and even live a mediocre life or mediocre relationship. So first step is to figure it out, really sit down and use all the tool assessment, whatever you can get a hand on, and understand yourself and what is your value, your identity, and what you want to be known for. That's step 1. The second step is what, right? Everyone has a to-do list, whether it's this long or maybe it's a circle, right? It never ends. Ask yourself 2 questions. First question is, what is my goal? What does the finish line look like for this particular list? What do I want to achieve, right? Whether it's, okay, I'm about to cook this amazing dinner, or I have this business I want to launch, or I have this business I want to scale, whatever that is, right? Whatever is on your to-do list. Ask yourself, what is the finish line? What is it finish? What's your final goal? What does it look like? And after that, so now you have a very clear on that goal. The second step is to ask yourself this one very important question. Ask this question on every single item on this list, right? The question is this: what could possibly happen if I say no to this, and why? Right? What could possibly happen if I say no to this, and why? Same thing if you have like 20 people texting you, or 20 people call you, your friends want you, your parents want you, you can ask each of them, what could possibly happen to this relationship if I don't call them back? And why? You'll find out that list all of a sudden is shrunk. Because my guess is half of them is nothing. Nothing will happen. And especially ask yourself why, then you know like what could possibly happen if I say no to this, and then why is that answer? You really dig into the belief, not just by saying it, but understanding, oh, maybe this is not even that important to me. Maybe that person I just met 2 months ago at Starbucks, we just had a small conversation. They say, oh, let's keep in touch.
Right.
But okay. It's not that important. I have 4 kids, right? I have a business. So that's how you string that list to almost like half the size.
Okay.
The last step. Yeah, so you're shaving things off. Now you still have a small list, right? The last step is a secret sauce of mine. It's when. When are those things become important? When are those things become important? When does that friend need me? When is that thing that needs to happen? In the logical order, right? So draw yourself a timeline. Let's say when you talk about, let's say it's cooking, right? We all some of us like to cook, right? We all have to eat somehow, right? Well, in order for you to cook this amazing meal, do you need the ingredient first, or do you cook first? Or do you need clean dishes to cook? Let's put them in a timeline. Chances are the normal logic is to like figure out the recipe, then look at your inventory at home, right?
Yep.
And then have a list, then go shop. And then when you
Yeah.
come home, maybe do dishes first. And then everything when it's done, then start cooking. Instead of do dishes, then you start to cook them like, oh, wait a minute, I run out of onion. Then I have
Right.
to go back and come back and forth, right? So
Mm-hmm.
for business, same thing, right? If you're launching a business, same thing. When does those things become important? And once you have that done, instead of this one list, now you have what I call a success list, meaning that you have a timeline, and each timeline you know exactly what needs to be done first in a logical order. That now you can have take action and get things done. So that's the 3W. All right. The last thing is F, which is focus to finish. Now, focus to finish is very important because check this out. When it comes down to focus, most people are thinking about it wrong. When it comes to focus, people are thinking about one thing. I should think about that one thing only. What you should think about focus is thinking about all the things that you need to eliminate, all the distraction you need to eliminate while you try to focus. We
Yeah.
all know what we need to focus on because we just know, right? Because you set your mind to do this thing, but it's during that time that you set aside, it's a
Yeah.
distraction
Yes.
that interrupting your focus, right?
Right.
And I have 5 steps to that. There's internal distraction and there's external distraction. I have 5 things that I usually cover, but for the time being, I'm going to cover the 2 things that I think is most important.
Okay.
In order for us to stay focused, the first step is, in order for us to stay focused, to eliminate the external distraction, the first step is communication. A lot of us working at home right now, right?
Yeah.
The first step is to communicate with whoever live with you, your spouse, your kids, your roommate, whoever they are, that you have this time block set aside to do the important things that is important to you. You got to communicate, this is important to me. Because a lot of time, the people that live with us, our family, they don't understand what you're doing. You're like, oh, you're in your office, you're in your computer. What are you doing?
What are
Tell
you
them,
doing in there?
right. Tell them, look, I'm working on this, or I'm working on my grocery list, so I can do
For
this,
how
right?
long? Yeah.
Exactly. Tell them what it is that you're working on is important to you and how long you're going to work on it. And then tell them when I'm done, then I'm all yours.
Yeah.
Because the people that in our life, they constantly want our attention, which is a good thing because they like us, right?
Yeah.
What makes them scared is that they don't know when you're available. That's why they always want to get attention, right? But by communicating when you will be available with them again, they're no longer they're fighting for you because it's known, right? So set the expectation, communicate.
Good.
All right. The second tip I want to cover is affirmation. Now, for some of us that like to study personal development or self-improvement, you probably have heard this technique, right? In the morning, look at the mirror and say the things to bring yourself like on fire, right? Like, I can do this, right? I have this mindset, like I can get this done. I want to achieve this. I want to achieve that. That's called affirmation.
Yep.
My point is, why not do that for while you do the work section, right? Whatever that is, the time block. Just write down a piece of note, just a sticky note, write down 1 or 2 words, not a whole sentence. Just say it out loud. Okay, for me, my purpose for this interview is to serve and add value. That's in my mind. I literally have a note right here, to serve. And before I get into this section, I read it out to myself, to serve. So when my mind gets distracted, I'll think back, okay, it's to serve. So you set affirmation, your goal, right before your work section or whatever that thing you're about to do, and just say it out loud and put it on the side so you can look it back. And because sometimes distraction happen. Well, I found that with that little note, either visually or in your head, it helps us to steer it back. So now we complete the whole section, SPF. You know exactly when you need to work on something. You know exactly what needs to be working on that will move the needle. And now you can stay focused and get things done while you work on it.
Perfect. That is a perfect recipe. As you're going through this, and I'm like, yes, yes, because I've been in every single one of those steps. All of us have, when you go in and like for me, I have home office too, right? So you go in there and a lot of people working from home, all of a sudden these little knocks on the door, your kids are knocking on the door, maybe your spouse or your phone rings and all this. And you're just like, oh, right. Like I'm in here. And then that just creates all this turbulence and tension. But just simply saying, hey, communicate with yourself or who's around you. I'm going to be in here for 1 hour and this is what I'm doing. And I think even setting that intentional scheduling, if we go back into there, you've now have just put yourself in that right mindset. I'm actually in here to do X, Y, and Z. And you don't have all these distractions coming all over you because you turned your phone off or you told your kids no. Like, you put yourself in that position. So, I mean, these are nuggets of gold. I love this. And that little note too, just something so simple like that. It may seem simple, but it's powerful, right? Like, I'm here to serve, or I'm working. Just like these little notes of reminders that your brain has while it's doodling and doing all this stuff, to just see that is going to keep you on target. That's
Yes.
beautiful. Perfect. Oh, okay. One last powerful word of advice that you can share with those that are struggling right now to have that meaningful life.
It's win or learn. A lot of us put so much focus on win or lose, right? Whether
Mm,
it's relationship or relationship to ourselves, relationship to the others, and even for business or job. Most people are scared to reach out, to make that step, to make that connection, or to even do something to be themselves because they think everything has to be perfect. I have to be showing my best self. I cannot say anything that sounds stupid or sounds silly or sounds like I don't know, whatever that is. Or I cannot put out a product or whatever that may not work.
mm,
It doesn't matter because if you adopt the mindset, shifting that L word from lose to learn and understand and truly believe life in every aspect, you name it, is either win or learn, right? For example, you have a friend that you have not reached out for a long time. Then we done it. We all done it. We write that email and rewrite it and write the email, rewrite it. I don't know if I'm saying the perfect word. I don't know that express why I have not reached out for the last 6 months or 2 years. Then you're like, oh, forget it. I mean, I don't know if it's the right. Or the text that you keep on like want to respond. It's not about winning. It's about putting ourselves out there and learn how they give us feedback on what we put out. If you can adopt that mindset, either whether the first text, whether the first reach out or whatever that you're doing, it sounds right or not sounds right, it doesn't matter because you can get feedback from your friend. Your friend may be like, what do you mean that why didn't you call me back for 6 months? Then you can explain. It's a practice, right? And the win in this case is you got it. You're able to express yourself and they understand and then the bond is reconnected. Or you're able to present yourself in a way that you can create this new meaningful relationship. So it's not about win or lose. It's about win or learn. Every time you put yourself out there, you either get what you want to receive back or you get a feedback. Yeah. So that's how we can improve our communication. That's how we get to know ourselves more and more. And that's how we get to know the other person more. You got to give them a chance. Life is a contact sport, right? You have to have contact with other people, whether it's business or relationship. Put yourself out there. And the only way you can allow yourself to get out there more often is either I'm going to win this or I'm going to learn something.
yeah, can't get it wrong, huh? You
It's not
can't get it
wrong.
wrong. Wow, that is so beautiful. I used to say all the time, like, you can't fail. This is something I would tell my kids too. You go for it because you're gonna win, which is a win-win, right? If you're learning, it's a win-win.
Yes.
That is so beautiful. Such great advice there, Joe. Now let's talk about this beautiful free gift you're giving away to all of our listeners. By the way, I actually did this free gift. And so I'm going to chime in here in a moment because it is a phenomenal tool to have. But Joe, tell us a little bit more.
Yes. So this free gift is a personality assessment. You may think, oh my God, another personality test. Yes, it's another personality test, but this one is totally different.
Yeah.
This one, first of all, is value-based that we mentioned, this whole conversation is about value. We have to know our value, right? This is a value-based personality assessment. And the beauty of it is only take 90 seconds, right? Derek will tell you, only take 90 seconds to finish.
Super quick.
And when you finish, you'll realize that what is most important to you and what is least important to you. And that's how you start to allocate your time. That's how you start to understand why you make certain decisions. And that's also how you understand why you want to make certain decisions and how you improve yourself and get better and better and whatever you're doing, right? And how to maximize our strength and how to minimize and or not minimize, how to outsource our weaknesses so we can, live this harmonic life. So take this assessment at secret.therealjola.com. Is again secret.therealjola.com. And then not only you'll get the report of this assessment, and on top of that, I'll personally review your report and give you 3 tips on how you can boost your productivity so you can do things faster and stress-free based on you. This is not a generic report. This assessment that I'm going to give you, this video that I'm going to personally make for you is tailored to you only. So 3 tips for you.
Wow, that is so amazing. So I did this 90-second assessment, you guys. It was super easy. It's basically you just click and drag these 4 simple boxes, and then out comes this amazing report that almost read me like a book. I was like, wow, this is so amazing. You get to see, like it says, your strengths, your weaknesses, your triggers, your likes, all this different thing. And with this gold, you guys, because what I took from it was, all right, some of this stuff you know about yourself, right? But there was some other things where I feel like we all have blind spots, and some of this stuff you're going to find out was in the blind spots, and now they're present. And so I was able to look at those weaknesses. And like Joe was saying, yes, we can delegate, right? Or we could take classes. We can improve these different areas that are our weaknesses, which is parts of us that really help to improve who we are, our quality of life, our relationships with others. It really trickles into everything we do, right? It was an amazing tool, and this is absolutely for free. He is doing this for you guys. You guys took that leap of faith and joined and registered for this happiness recipe. And so now you get Joe Lau, you get his assessment, and you get that video that he's actually explaining your exact personality and things you can do. I mean, jump on it. Jump on it. It's free. Do it 90 seconds. 90 seconds. I love that, Joe. And in your email, you will have the link as well to take this assessment. And just thank you so much, Joe. Thank you so
You're
much for
welcome.
being here and sharing your time and your wisdom, your mindset coaching with us. And thank you, listeners, for joining in. You do want to keep your eye out for the next video, because if you love this, we got more experts that are giving vital ingredients to that happiness. And until then, keep smiling. Bye bye.